Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James Strong, joined once again by my co-host Cody Tanner on this special Wednesday edition. Cody, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. Living the dream, another day in paradise. All the things.
All those things.
James, how are you?
I'm all right, man. If you hear my special guests in the background, that's Nolani. She does not like how some dogs are playing right now, and she's telling them to stop.
Yep, and we're animal lovers. We're dog people. We both own dogs, and so the barking in the background will just have to be music to our ears this episode. So that is what's happening. We are here first off to talk preview for tomorrow night's game, Thursday night football on Amazon Prime. If you haven't actually watched it on the app, it's like a cool breakdown. You can watch like live betting stuff and live updates, and it's really cool how Amazon Prime has been doing their Thursday night football games. But before we get to that, we have some Steelers news, James.
We sure do. So this year, the Walter Payton Man of the Year is right around the corner. Each team nominates one player from their team. The Pittsburgh Steelers have chosen Cameron Hayward. He will be their nominee for the 6th year straight for his work with the Hayward House Foundation. Hopefully he just bring that home. Does a lot of work in the community, so be nice to see.
Yeah, nice to see us win something this year. With that being said,
other than maybe Defensive Player of the Year,
Yeah. I mean,
that might be there.
We'll see. NFL seems out to get him. We talked about that last episode. We are going to preview this Patriots game. First off, we're going to talk injury report. There are a bunch of injuries we're dealing with, as well as the Patriots. Honestly, they're dealing with a ton as well. But I'm going to go through the important ones here. Kenny Pickett is obviously out with the ankle injury. Landon Roberts with the groin injury is also questionable. Actually, he had limited practice or limited participation in practice the last 2 days. Isaac Seumalo was questionable and didn't participate today with a shoulder injury. And then you also have Mason Cole questionable with limited practice all week with a neck injury. Najee Harris with a knee injury didn't participate the last 2 days, but they are optimistic about him playing, which is important somewhat. It's nice to have the bounce back between him and Jaylen Warren. But Jaylen, honestly, if Najee couldn't go, I'm comfortable with Jaylen Warren taking the workload. There's also Keanu Benton dealing with an oblique injury, limited participation all week long. Montravius Adams finally back to full participation all week with an ankle injury. And then you also had Minka dealing with that broken hand, full participation all week. And then Patrick Peterson and Cameron Hayward contusion to, the whole birth certificate, and then Cam with that kind of groin. So those guys were limited somewhat this week. So, yeah.
James Pierre also on the list is out with that shoulder injury. Correct. Yeah, he's officially out.
So new gunner.
New gunner on offense, and we've got quite the banged up offensive line right now, right?
Yep.
It's very, very banged up. And defensive line, we finally get Montravius back, and now Keanu Benton's injured.
Yep.
Doesn't sound like Keanu's too major. He played through it in the game, but it did reduce his playing time after experiencing the injury. So maybe this is the week we finally see a little Spencer Anderson on this offensive line. We'll see how healthy these guys are. If one of those two can't start, Isaac Seumalo or Mason Cole, Nate Herbig, I should say, is next man up at both positions. But behind him seems to be Spencer Anderson. I honestly would like to see Spencer get a shot because I think that we need to see who's a better option than Mason Cole at center other than Nate Herbig. I think we already know that he is.
Yep.
But we also need to see what's the possibilities for future of the offensive line. Do we need to invest highly in next year's draft?
Yeah.
This upcoming draft, or are we okay on the interior with the backup guys stepping into starting roles? So questions need answered, and the only way you can really find out is them playing against starters. So I'm optimistic. I would like to see some of those guys play. Real long list for the New England Patriots here as well. First guy, Kayshon Boutte, also known as Kiki Boutte. He's a wide receiver, is listed as out with his injury. Wide receiver, Demario Douglas, also listed as out for the Patriots. Running back, Ramondre Stevenson, also listed as out. Cornerback Sean Wade has an illness and is listed as out. Must be one heck of an illness.
Yeah.
Defensive end Dietrich Wise, also with an illness, does not have a game designation right now, but it looks like they held him out of practice all week with whatever that illness may be. So maybe it was COVID and they're just trying to keep him from spreading it. Tough to say. Christian Barrymore, the first round defensive tackle, limited all week long. He is questionable as to whether or not he'll be able to go. The linebacker Chris Board has a back injury and does not have an injury designation going into the game, but was limited early in the week. Offensive tackle Trent Brown with an ankle/hand injury. Ankle and hand. He's got two injuries going on, poor guy. Limited all week long, questionable for the game. Ezekiel Elliott, the running back, you might have heard of him before, has a thigh injury, limited early in the week, practice later in the week. Devontae Parker, the wide receiver with a knee injury, limited all week long, questionable for the game. Offensive tackle Riley Reef with a knee injury and is listed as out. Juju Smith-Schuster, might have heard of him before. This is now the fourth wide receiver on this list. With an ankle, limited all week. He is questionable for the game. And then offensive guard, I believe a rookie also, City Sow with an ankle injury. Limited early in the week, no injury designation, so I imagine he'll be ready to go.
Yeah, 4 wide receivers on this list and the two starting running backs on this list.
2 offensive tackles too. I don't know if those are the starting offensive tackles.
What were the names again? Was it Trent
Brown? Trent Brown and Riley Reef. Riley used to start for other teams.
Yeah, Riley Reef is not listed as a starter for them. Definitely not the right tackle. They have Onwenu at the right tackle position. So.
Okay.
But very interesting. You have to wonder. I shouldn't even say you have to wonder. My brain goes to, wow, they don't have many offensive playmakers right now. This should be an easy game. But you know what? I thought about that last week. And so here we are, sitting at 7-5 instead of 8-4 like we should have been. That's just that's the one game of the year that I will say we should have won, that we lost. The other ones, sure, whatever, this and that. But like, this is just ridiculous at this point. But again, I mean, even the defensive back, they're missing a defensive back. They're missing a defensive tackle. And a linebacker. So
yeah, lots and lots of injuries. So let's go over the depth chart for them right now, Cody. They're listing Bailey Zappi as the starter. I understand he started last week with Mac Jones backing him up at quarterback. The running back room, they have 2 starters listed, Ramondre Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott, both of whom were on the injury list. Ty Montgomery and Jermichael Hasty are backing those 2 gentlemen up. Tight ends, Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki, and Farrell Brown, all are good receiving tight ends. After how Pittsburgh covered Trey McBride or did not cover Trey McBride last week, I am highly concerned about their abilities to cover the tight ends for the New England Patriots, as it seems to be the strength of the offense right now. Wide receiver room, Devontae Parker and Juju Smith-Schuster, the starters listed. Both were on the injury list. Their backups, Tyquan Thornton and Jalen Renger, were not on the injury list. So at least their number 3 and 4 are healthy, but it seems like 1 and 2 and 5 and 6 are all injured for them. Offensive line, left to right, the left tackle, Trent Brown, who was on the injury list. Left guard, Cole Strange. Center, David Andrews. Right guard, City So, who was on the injured list. And then right tackle, Michael Onwenu. If you're a longtime listener of this show, I was huge on Michael Onwenu when he came out of Michigan, and he's had a pretty good career for a late round pick so far. So hoping that rookie contract's running out and Pittsburgh can scoop him up and bring him on over to the black and gold.
Yeah. Bailey Zappi not having thrown a single touchdown this year. I really hope his first one doesn't come against us.
You're jinxing it right now, bro.
That's okay. He has thrown 2 interceptions. Hopefully he throws 2 more this game. We will be on the lookout for that. Again, I mean, the 2 starting running backs listed as injury. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, Ezekiel Elliott, and Ty Montgomery have all been starters in different times in the NFL. So it's a pretty intense list of running backs there, although some or most maybe past their prime. Look at the defensive side of the ball. Dietrich Wise Jr. listed as the starting left end. Lawrence Guy Sr. listed as the starting right end. And then you have their 2 interior defensive linemen, Devon Godshaw and Christian Barrymore, which again, Christian Barrymore listed on the injury list. And then the linebackers, Aferny Jennings, Jawan
Anthony.
Sure. Aferny. Jennings, Jawan Bentley, and Jelani
Tavai.
The
Mhm.
starting linebackers. Man, they got all kinds of guys. Look at the backup at linebacker, Marte Mapu.
Yeah, Marte Mapu.
Mapu. I'll tell you about Mapu later.
Ooh.
It's past
Let's
my
go to the
bed.
secondary, Cody.
It's past my bedtime. The secondary. Jonathan Jones, decent.
6:30.
Listen, I got up early for work today, homie. J.C. Jackson listed. Jonathan Jones and J.C. Jackson listed as their starting corners. I believe Sean Wade is their starting nickel, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yeah, I
that was the
think
guy
so,
that
and
me and
he's
you talked about a lot in the draft process. And then Kyle Duggar and Jabril Peppers, again, two very well-known safeties that I don't feel have made a big impact since they've been with the Patriots' struggling offense this year, unfortunately. Duggar does have 1 sack and 2 interceptions on the year, and Jabril Peppers, who, if I'm not mistaken, used to play for the Browns.
Yeah, he was drafted there.
Yeah, has a sack, an interception, and a forced fumble on the year. So quiet years for those two guys. And then you look at the special teams. Chad Ryland, the kicker, Bryce Beringer, the punter and holder, Demario Douglas, the punt returner, and Ty Montgomery, the kick returner. Oh, and don't forget the long snapper, because they matter too. Joe Cardona is the long snapper.
Good old Joe.
Jojo. So
You know Joe.
do you, Jojo?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, nobody knows Joe.
Nobody knows Joe, because long snappers matter.
they do. Ask the Cincinnati Bengals.
That's fair. That is fair. I want to point out something, James, that is
Yeah.
concerning, and I'm not trying to, jinx us already. The Patriots haven't put up more than 10 points in the last 3 weeks.
That's about the only thing gives us a chance, bro.
They've put up 16 combined points in the last 3 weeks, and they didn't score a single point last week.
I wonder if last week was a nasty weather game, because it was like 6-0.
It was.
I
don't think it was.
A lot of the country had really bad rainstorms last weekend. So I wouldn't be surprised with how bad the rainstorms were in Pittsburgh with the weather delays if it was similar weather in New but don't know that definitively.
Well, you know what?
You look like you're trying to look it up.
I'm looking up game highlights right now, because I genuinely didn't see any of the highlights, and I'm just now you got me curious.
I think that could be part of why it was so low. But you're absolutely right. The strength of the New England Patriots team this year is the defense, not the offense. The offense is one of the few that rivals Pittsburgh's this year with how miserable their performance has been in week in and week out.
It didn't. I mean, it looks like there may have been a storm previous to the game potentially, but and like the field might be a little wet, but it's nothing that in my mind would. I mean, some people have raincoats on, but it doesn't look like a bad weather game by any means. So maybe high winds. I don't know. Maybe they were forced.
You don't usually wear a raincoat for
no,
for
but I mean, like
winds,
maybe that was a problem with the passing game. The wind. I don't know.
I think passing game problems with their quarterbacks.
I mean, you're not wrong, but not with the Chargers. Not with the Chargers. I did see a wide receiver like completely drop a ball. Like he caught it and he said, "Nah, I'm just gonna juggle it," and then ran out of bounds.
Yeah.
So
you're better off dropping it. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Patriots, another team that I believe have not put up 30 points this year, so that's a plus. I swear, if they put up 30 on us, I'm quitting. I'm done, James. I'm done.
Wouldn't blame you for being upset.
I'll sit here and watch you record the Friday episode. How about that?
I'll tell you what. If there's any optimism, it should be in the fact that after last week's game, the coaching staff admitted that they're going to be working in both Miles Jack and Blake Martinez into the linebacker rotation. So expect an elevation for Miles Jack from the practice squad. Expect to see Blake Martinez not on the injury list or inactive list, and actually both of them getting a chance to be out there. Miles knows the defense, so that shouldn't be an issue at all. And before coming to Pittsburgh and playing with a groin injury, he was known for his defense against the pass. He was more of a pass defensive specialist than he was a run stopping specialist, which is fine because the other guys are better against the run. So We need somebody good in open space who knows how to drop, get into those zones, and specifically handle tight ends, because this week is a very difficult matchup with the tight ends that the New England Patriots have.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a fun week. I got excited. You said something about the defense, and I was like, the offense needs to do more too.
Well, absolutely they do.
Yeah. So we'll see what Mitch Trubisky can put together this game. With that being said, we're going to talk about our 3 keys to success, James.
Yeah. Do you want to go first this week? I went first.
I will go first this week because you know what?
Right.
My keys to success are going to be very simple.
Yeah.
And you're going to judge me on these ones, and that's fine.
That's fine.
My first key to success is don't be that team. Don't be the team that allows them to get over 10 points for the first time in 3 weeks. Hold the defense or hold that offense under 10 points, please. And then my second key is please put more than 10 points up on offense. Please score more than 10 points. Allow the offense to have something put together. I want to see us. I mean, I guess you could comment. The main goal of this is I want to limit the 3 and outs. We had that again. We had that problem again last week a little bit after not having any the week prior, which was just incredible. Yeah. And then my last key to success is honestly going to be forcing early turnovers. Not winning the turnover battle, but whether it's forcing fumbles, whether it's TJ Watt getting to the quarterback, or forcing some pressure and the defense standing up in the secondary and allowing someone to get some picks. I want to force some early turnovers so we can hopefully get ahead early. That way we're not playing catch up, we're playing hold back, even though I still hate playing that one as well. So
I'm with you. My first key is going to kind of fall in line a little bit with your third one there. It's 0 turnovers. I think if Pittsburgh turn the balls over once, they'll lose the game. So got to keep it to 0 this week. Mitch has a real nasty habit of turning the ball over at least once every time he plays. That's why he got benched after like 5 weeks last year, because he turned it over so much. So he's got to keep that under control. I know that he's not exactly the most guy as far as like taking lots of chances. Play it safe this week, Mitch. We just need the field goals. It should be enough.
Yep.
Number 2, 17 points. I firmly believe that if you can put 17 points up, it will be plenty to beat this Patriot team. So give me 17. Honestly, 13 might even be enough, but I want to see 17 because that'll mean 2 touchdowns, and I'd be pretty happy about that. Mm-hmm. My last key, the running team needs to drastically help the passing team right now. Our passing offense is just miserable, and you can't expect it to be better with Mitch than it was with Kenny, which is kind of scary because it wasn't that great with Kenny. So I need at least 150 yards out of this rushing offense this week because I want them to do the bulk of the work and then just have Mitch have to complete some 5 to 7 yard passes here and there just to keep the drives going. Yep. I think he can handle that stuff, but if you start asking him to do a lot of 10 to 15 yard passes, you're going to see a lot of turnover. So need a big day from this rushing unit, Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris. Shoot, I don't care if you have to sprinkle in a little Anthony McFarland if Najee isn't feeling all that great with the knee. I'm fine with it. Anthony's explosive. I think he will this week.
I freaking hope.
If Najee's questionable with that knee and they choose to dress him, I bet they dress all 4 running backs and they just have an inactive somewhere else, you know.
Fair. Hopefully not the offensive line.
It probably will be.
Yep. Cook.
Ciamalo or Cole, one of the 2.
True.
And then Kenny's going to be inactive too. So, I mean,
yeah,
you have that.
Yeah. Well, then you're going to, Kenny will be inactive. Mitch is on the practice squad. Or not Mitch. McSorley doesn't count.
Correct.
So I just processed that. Anyways, that's going to wrap up the preview show again for tomorrow night. Thursday night kickoff, 8:15 p.m. on Amazon Prime television, sports thing, whatever you want to call it. Go watch it. Should be a game. With that being said, we appreciate you guys being here, whether you're watching or listening. Be sure to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Subscribe and ring the bell. It's free. Don't forget to download the PSF app, Pro Sports Fans, and join us live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. for Midweek Madness on the Steelers channel. And until next time, this is your host, James and Cody, signing off.
Peace.